Please make it larger.
Larger? Okay. Better? Or no? Can everyone see?
Good.
Good. Okay. All right. So the template that you received is one that has 16 tabs. At the bottom here, you can see home, ARQR, PLA home, and so on. Now, each tab has its own function. So we'll go through each tab and talk about what it needs. But generally, the template we have has sections that you can put in information and other sections that gets it information from what somebody has already done. And this is information from the congregations. Okay, so we're starting from the home tab. The home tab is a page where the district clerk needs to update. And it is only the blue section here that can be updated. Everything else, you may not update. So the first time you're using this template, you put in your presbytery, you put in your district. This then flows on to the other tabs. So we can do that as an to show you how it would look like. And AAP, and we say Washington, DC North. Okay, so that's that for us. And then from this page, you can go, you hit on anything with a line underneath is a linkable tab, and it takes you to where you're supposed to be. Again, this page is where a district clerk would insert all the congregations in their district. This then produces the tab for a congregation to update the information that is needed. But please bear in mind that congregation 1 is always for district information. So if you go to congregation 1 tab, as you can see here, the NAAP presbytery is there, and the district that we had inputted on the previous homepage is also there, and it says district only, and it has the current year. On this page, there are white sections, there are blue sections. The white sections you cannot update, the blue sections you can. So we go back to our homepage. All right, so that was the congregation data home. And then you've got your district planning homepage. And this has 2 sections. And again, you see the earlier information we had input there is at the top, so you don't have to do it again. It has the district summary of congregational data, which is information that the congregations had provided to you, and then the district planning reports. Yes, I can see a hand raised. Grace Congregation, please go ahead with your question.
We have a template, but I think the template we have is specific to the local, not the district.
Yes.
So I'm presuming after we're done with this, we're going to move to that template. Is that it?
That's correct. That's
okay.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So this template has 2 sections. The top part for the congregational information, and for the congregational information, it's got the membership planning data, the attendance data, land and landed property expenditure, and the congregational 3-year rolling plan. And that is our concentration today. It's a 3-year rolling plan that we're supposed to be providing to the clerk of presbytery by I think it's by Friday. Okay. So in here, in each one, again, it has sections, which is white, and sections that are blue. You can only input data on the blue sections. In this whole template, the only part that you can input information is the blue section. The other part comes from information that someone would have already provided on the tabs. Well, generally, it's the congregational template. So we can go back. Okay. And again, the annual average attendance and land management and so on. Okay. The next one is a tab for your quarterly reports, but that will be coming later on. So we're not going to deal with that at all this time. We may go back later on and look at it before they are due. I think it's 31st March for the first quarter report. So we're not going to go through, just it's there and it will be used at a later point. This PLA home is the one that we're going to use a lot today. As I said earlier, we looked at the congregational data, and then the bottom part is the district planning information, and it has the quarterly tabs as well. So if we go into the 3-year rolling plan, district clerks, this information is for you to update with your district minister. And what I will suggest is try not to do this alone, because it is very daunting when you're looking at figures and you're trying to work things out. It can become very frustrating, but please work with somebody. If your district minister is not available, try and find somebody in your district session who is conversant with this, and try and work through with them. But your district minister is going to sign off on this, so they will at some point be involved with it. So if you can start working with your district minister on the initial stages, very good. So I can't say that enough. It is almost critical to work with your district minister on this, unless you know all the information, like you've gathered all the information and you know it all, you can input it straight away. In preparation, when you're doing this, you must gather your data. So your membership statistics, you need information from finance and from the various key areas. So on this tab, the first section is to do with the goals, and the person in charge is the agent in charge. So your district minister in this section. Here it's asking for dates. So let's go through the columns. The code column is the code that has been used in this template to identify what we're looking for. So DOG means district overarching goal number 1. So that's what that means. DME is district mission and evangelism, and the number and so on. And then district HRM, and then you go through to ESR, and then DSS and finance, education, and clan. Okay. So the first section is asking for dates. Your key performance indicator has been provided. So it's saying DG01, grow membership of the church by at least 10% per annum. And you can see your first row, which is row 16, it's white. So you cannot put information there. That information will come from other sections that are completed and from the congregation data. So where you can input information is the blue section. And that is requiring us to submit our 3-year rolling plan to the presbytery chairperson. So as districts, we provide that via the clerk to the presbytery chairperson by the 15th of December each year. So for your 2022 actual KPI, you need to put in the date when you provided that information to the presbytery office. And then, so ideally, it will be a date which is earlier than 15th December. But if it's not, that's fine. Put in the date that you submitted this TYRP to the presbytery office. Because what this thing is doing is, if you come back to this report at a later stage and you see that you submitted something, say on the 25th of December, then you think about why that was the case and try to rectify that. If it's something that you know, as a team in the district, you can rectify. Because we want to be able to meet our KPIs as identified on this report. So you come again to your 2023 target, and depending on what you did in 2022, you'd say, I want an improvement. I'm not going to submit on the 25th of December. I will do it on the 10th of December, for example. That is the plan, and that's what you put in there. 2024, same, it's a target. 2025, it's a target. Remember, this is a 3-year rolling plan, hence it goes up to the 2025. So you put in the dates as you would have worked with your district minister on. And then you move on to the other blue sections. It's asking about planting new, and I'm referring to the blue sections now, plant new preaching point by district. So again, with your minister and the committee chairperson on mission and evangelism, you input this information, unless you've already got it. If you've got it, that's excellent. Input that information. Human resource administration and human resource management. The section that we need to complete are the training days per person. Now, please take note of this because there's a formula for that. And one thing I haven't mentioned is that you can put in formulas in some of these cells, and it actually helps if you understand Excel to be able to work with formulas. If not, you can use a calculator. So the number of person days of training is the total number of training sessions that have been held by the district and divided by the number of people who attended. Sorry, Grace Congregation, is your hand up again, or it's from the previous one?
Well, my hand was up again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Sorry to ask this question, but the date, is there a specific format for the date?
Oh, yes, it's a slash. So 2 digits, 2 digits, 2 digits, and with a slash, and it will default to the correct format. So I'll show you. For example, if we do 1/1/2023, 1/1/2023, see, it changes to that format. Can you see it?
Yeah,
So
maybe you can do, say, something without 1/1, because 1/1 is January 1st, which is 1/1, but
okay, I'll do 16th 02.
Okay. All right, so day first.
So it's like
2023.
European. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So coming back to the training part, where are we?
We are the formula.
Training days. Yeah. So the formula is number of training sessions conducted divided by the number of people who attended. That's the per person days input. So we have to do a bit of calculation over there. And if you're familiar with Excel, you can put in that, where are we? Oh, I keep missing. Okay, here. Okay. So in Excel, it's an equal sign before a formula. Then you would have had your information on the number of training sessions. So say in 2022, you had 10 training sessions divided by the number of people who attended were 50. Did I do this right? How does it say 0? It shouldn't say 0.
Well, it would say 0.
No, oh, okay.
Unless
Okay.
the decimals is 1.
1. Yeah. But for those who can't use a formula, you'd have to calculate it somehow with a calculator if you're not familiar using the Excel formulas. Is that part okay? Is that clear with people?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. Yeah. So in a district, say you had 10 training sessions, right? And you had, say, 100 people attending, cumulative. So training session 1, you had 50 people. Training 2, you had 25. Session 3, you had 40. So it's all of that divided by, across the year, divided by the number of training sessions. So the number of people by the number of training sessions. Is that clearer?
Yes, it is. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then the next bit is a date requirement when the membership form is uploaded through ERP. We don't do it through ERP. We do it via the Presbytery, Clerk of Presbytery. So whatever date it is that it would have been sent, and you do the same like we did earlier on, whatever dates you're targeting for 2023, 24, and 25. The next section is white, so it will be coming from somewhere else. And then we come to a section where it talks about land acquired for preaching points. So if you have that kind of information for your district, then input that. So if you had, since 2020, if you've had acquired 10, you put that in. If you're planning to acquire another 10 in 2024, you do so 2023, 24, and 25. So 2023, 24, 25 are your targeted figures. So it doesn't mean that you've put in 10, so you are actually going to acquire 10 plots of land, but it means that you're going to work towards that. And if you're not able to meet that, that is when, as a district, you come back and think about why you didn't meet that. Chapels constructed for preaching points, again, is the same thing. Any chapels that are being constructed, it says constructed, but I am assuming if you purchase a chapel as well, that can be included. Papa, can you confirm if that's the case? If a chapel is purchased rather than constructed, that can be included in that section?
Yes, if you purchased.
Okay.
Or if you put the contract, yeah. If there's nothing, you just leave the 0 there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think someone is asking a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry, does anyone want to ask a question? I can't see every
There's a question in the
screen.
chat.
I'm sorry.
Check the chat.
So the question is, this assumes that these KPIs here have been defined and being monitored or maintained at the local level. Is this the expectation that locals have these capabilities and are actually tracking these?
That's correct. The information should be tracked and monitored by the various congregations and brought up to the districts.
Okay, so then, I'm sorry, this is Abby from Ohio, Illinois District. A follow-up question to that is, are all the agents familiar with this spreadsheet? And have they gone through the training?
I think the clerk would help us with that one.
Yeah.
There was a training session.
Yes.
I am not
there
sure if the ministers.
There has been a training session for all, but
Yes.
well, education continues. So we're still going by that. So that's why you're here as a clerk. So please don't worry your agent. So you can send them a message that you're here, you're learning again. And so
I'm sorry, Papa. I think my line on my phone actually dropped. So I think I missed part of your response.
I said that we have organized a national training for all agents. I'm aware at that time I was at Inshira Congregation. So I remember during Inshira's 10th anniversary, I hosted that program. So we have really gone through this with all people that so matter. But we're doing it again. And so if you are here, drop a message to your minister that, hooray, I'm here for a program. Let him be aware that you're here so that you go and work together, okay? The agents have a lot of work to do. That's why we want to do it for you as the clerk, okay? Thank you.
But how often is this training session going to go on?
It depends on.
We have recorded this one, so to be there for replay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So then the expectation. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we'll go through the key things that are required for us to complete the 3-year rolling plan. That is the goal for the session.
Yeah.
So we'll
so the expectation is for the
point.
year 2023, not for the report that's due to the clerk's office in the next couple of days or next day or two.
It is. The 3-year rolling plan is what is required. The 3-year rolling
plan. Correct.
Yes.
I get that part. But as far as the locals tracking that information and us submitting a report to this information that's being recorded here, that's for the year 2023 going forward, 3 years from 2023. Correct?
Yes.
Going forward.
Yes, but you would have already provided your 2022 information in some format, which is different to this. So correct. The data should be there. Yes.
Correct.
So you can use that to update the 2022 information required. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably not.
If you haven't got it.
Probably not all the information because the locals are not currently tracking this specific information.
Right. Oh, so okay.
For 2022, it would kind of be impossible to get all of it. We can get something close to it, but probably not like the specific information that's being requested here. But going forward in 2023, the locals can then start gathering this information because they're going to be provided with this information. So for 2023 report, then we will have a full report.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So we will go on, and we are now up to the section asking about finance information. So it's asking for a date when the annual district audited account is submitted to Presbytery, and the expected date or the deadline is 31st of March each year. So again, if you meet that deadline, great. If you want to work on an earlier deadline as your target for the future years, again, that's excellent. And please do that. We encourage everyone to set goals and KPIs that exceed what is expected. So that's what you put in there. And then transfers regarding the percentage contributions. If you're doing weekly transfers, record how often you do it. If you're not doing weekly transfers, then you need to put in a note as to what you're doing and record that on the site there. In the cell next to there, you can put in some information. But in order to put in information, you'd have to unlock this file. And I'd say if you're not very familiar with Excel, don't use it that way, because you will then jeopardize the information that's in there. But make yourself a note and provide that information somehow to the clerk if you can't input it. If you're not doing the weekly transfers. And I think for us in the diaspora, it's different. We're doing monthly, I think, but don't take my word for it. Okay. And then you would have finished with your strategic plan information that is required. But you would need information from the congregations to input into the white section. So we'll go to the congregational bit now. So this is the congregational page. District clerk would have completed this section, inputting each congregation in their district on here before sending out the template. So for example, Washington, DC, no, we'll just give a name, a congregation. I don't know if Adum is there, but I'll just put Adum. Okay. So Washington, DC North District Clerk has input all the information and Adum has received it. So on receiving this, congregational clerk, the session clerk for Adum, clicks on that tab there, which says CONG02, which is congregation 02. As I mentioned earlier, number one is always the district information. Goes in there and also updates the blue sections in the tab. So you see at the top, it provides the presbytery, the district, and the relevant congregation, and the year in question. So again, the goals are the same. You're talking about membership growth. You're talking about submissions to the district minister. So this reporting is to the district minister, who then sends to the presbytery via the district clerk. Okay, so all this blue section, the congregation needs to update. So 2022, you've got your actual KPI. 2023 is your target, and it's similar to what we had a look at. And again, 2024 and 2025. So you put in your target dates. Then mission and evangelism. Number of souls won. You put in the actual number, which means from what somebody was saying, if the information had not been gathered in the past, it's very difficult to work it now. But for 2023 onwards, we are going to capture this information because we now have a requirement to do so. But if you have it for 2022, please do that and input the information. Yes, Washington, DC, question. Hello? See chat. Okay. For new districts who did not.
Hello, I think
Okay.
Washington DC is saying that he is unable to unmute himself. I don't know if any other
Yes,
person has that issue.
The person has sent a message in the chat. Okay, so the question is, for new districts who did not submit 2022 data, what's their baseline going to be? Do they get a waiver for 2022 and start measuring in 2022 towards 2023? If not, then they're being asked to make up numbers. We definitely are not asking anyone to make up numbers. So, Papa, please correct me if I'm wrong. If your congregation was not available in 2022, or you don't have the required period information, then don't make it up. I don't think anyone's going to
making up will be ungodly, and so you continue from the existing statuses or information, please.
Mm-hmm.
So will it be appropriate to put NA over there, not applicable?
It's in the dates. Yeah, in the dates section, you can put, I think you can, yeah, in the date section, when you put in any information, it reverts it to a date. So you can leave it, but in the figure section, if you put in 0, in fact, you have to put in 0 for the figure section. But if it's requiring text, as in dates and words, then you can't, because it reverts to the whatever it is that it's asking for. Is that clear?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you. So mission activities that would have been undertaken: ministry to police cells and prisons. If you've organized some of those, then include that information. I don't think many of us do that. So now we're going to look at how best we can approach that going forward. And then again, person days of training using the same formula, but this time for the congregation only. So number of training sessions that have been held by the congregation divided by the number of people who attended across the year. And a date requirement again, and so on. As I said earlier, we do not upload to the ERP. We send it via the clerk of Presbytery. And the land question? Yes, please.
Yeah, the training. What is the formula? Because I think you gave 2. First, you said number of training conducted over number of people attended. Then you said, because that's definitely going to give you a fraction. And then you said number of people attended over number of training sessions organized.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. The formula I have, actually, I tried looking for the formula because I wrote it down. And for some reason, it's wiped away from the template I wrote it on. But you know what? I will confirm that and send it through the forum, the WhatsApp forum, please, if you don't mind. I'll confirm that. Is that okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Ecumenical. Yep.
In regards to the formulas, is there just for future, is there a way to include that on the template in case we're not here and the next clerk is not here, that the new clerk will have access to whatever that formula is? So if there's a tab created for like key notes or formula tab.
That's exactly what we need to do. So as a clerk, when you include a formula in a template, please save that template for use for the future. Don't remove it, so that when you're doing your handover, for example, you refer to that template and it would have whatever formula that is needed. So please, clerks, when you put in a formula, it is for, you know, for now and the future, and leave it in so people can use, others can use it. All right, thank you. If there is an update to this whole workbook, it will come from the national office, and of course that will then be sent out. But then any formulas that you would have put in yourself would no longer be there, so you'd have to go back and put them in. But I don't think that this has been fine-tuned since 2020. So this version was updated in November 2022. So I don't think there will be further updates. However, if on using it, you know, if this is what we suggest, that we want the formulas put in at some point, then maybe that's something that we can pass on to the national office, and it may be done and sent through to us. It will be great. It will be very good if we can have it done. Maybe we'll request that. I don't know. Maybe we can request that, but I'm not sure whether it can be done soon enough for us. But we certainly would request, because they're wanting feedback on how we use this and how conversant we become with it, and any bugs, as the Australians would say, that we find are not working, which makes the template not very useful. So please, any feedback like that, let us know and we can send that through. Okay, so again, the various section is asking different questions, and where it says a number, it's asking for a figure. So public interest activities organized under ecumenical and social relations. If you had 10 as a congregation, good, put that in. Number of people who attended, put that in. Again, 2022, we may have not captured that information. So if we haven't done it, we leave that blank. But because it's a number, we have to put 0 so that it can calculate it in the various sections. So all of these sections under ESR, we put in the numbers that are required. And again, with development and social services, there was something here. Number of persons supported, the amount spent, yes. The amount spent, as you can see, is in Ghana cedis. We cannot put in Ghana cedis, so you have to change that to US dollars or Australian dollars, and then put in the amount that you had spent on that particular item. So in this case, it's general welfare, and it has in brackets visitation, funerals, marriage, naming, etc., etc. So if you've got something like that in your congregation that you do, then, or if you've budgeted specifically for that kind of welfare, then include the number of people you've helped and the amount that you've spent 2022, or what you've budgeted for 2023 and in the future. And the other sections are also requesting for similar information, but for different categories of people. But remember to change the Ghana cedis to the denomination that you use, because otherwise I don't think it will make a lot of sense, unless you can do a calculation on the equivalent, but then it would not provide specific information, because foreign exchange changes all the time. So let's keep that in mind. Did I hear somebody asking a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you change that?
Okay, so in the cell, you'd have to unprotect the sheet. But as I mentioned, be very careful if you're not conversant with Excel. It's under review. Oh, no, let me go to, it's under format, right? So on your homepage, go to format and then unprotect the sheet. Can you see that? Oh, no.
Can you go
Yeah,
over
we
it
can see
again?
it.
Okay. So from your homepage, so you click on the home tab, right?
Yeah.
You come right to your right-hand side, click on the box which says format, click on the down arrow, and then click on unprotect sheet.
Okay.
Okay. The password is Kofi, K-O-F-I, lowercase. But please, when you do that, make sure you don't change anything else. I can't stress that enough because it affects the whole thing. And you may find that it's not working the way it's supposed to be working. So please, if it's a cell you are changing, just simply change that cell and continue with what you're doing. Okay. So we move down to finance. And again, there's a date section and it's asking for amounts that we've spent specifically on mission and evangelism, welfare, education, and scholarship combined. Some of it may not apply to us, like a scholarship, like education, it may not, but whatever you have spent for that particular section or whatever you're going to budget for that particular section is what you do for your future years and whatever you have spent in 2022, if you did. And again, the transfers, input that information. Committee on Education. For us, I don't think any of that applies for us in the diaspora. This is specifically Ghana specific. So, you know, growth, number of candidates, BECE, we don't do BECE in Australia. School worship in basic schools, maybe that we can do at some point. We currently don't do it. Speaking and reading of Ghanaian languages, non-formal education, we currently don't do it. And UPSG programs is also specific to Ghana. So that section you can leave blank unless it applies to you. Committee on Scholarships, again, if it applies to you, then provide the information. It's asking for numbers and then percentages. So as a tip, we as a district decided on some percentages that we're going to use. So if you stick to one percentage, then it's easier to apply it to the various sections rather than chopping and changing. It makes it a bit complex. But if you know that, you know, your percentages are going to change. So say 2023, you're going to increase your visitations by 15% instead of 10 or 20, then you use that. In your percentage section is where it will be good if you can work out a formula. So for example, the number of people visited in SHS, I know it doesn't apply, but I want to show you how the formula works. So you've got 10, for example, or say 20. We visited 20 people, so that's fine. And then the percentage. So in 2021, you would have set a percentage to say, I want a 10% increase in the number of visitations. So you do your percentage here. Did I say 10% or 20? Say 10% divided by 100. Times that. So that's 10%. So in the following year, right, you then, if you visited, say 15 people, it wants you to provide the percentage of your 20 in the following year, and so on. Is that clear? That's a bit tricky.
It is.
But do we understand that concept?
So the growth is not automatically calculated. There's not a formula built in.
No, currently not. Currently not. So I think what I'll do, what will help us is send you through, because we've done all these calculations. I'll send you through the formulas. I think that would be helpful. I can't capture it immediately. So, but I'll send that through. And name it correctly so you know which one is which. And once you apply it to one cell, it will flow on to the rest. So it makes it easy.
So and I have not opened or looked fully at the district one. So if I was to make changes on the district tab, does it automatically change it on the congregation tabs for them? I don't know if they match.
No,
so
it doesn't.
Each tab
no,
has to be changed.
That's right. Yeah. It flows on from, well, no, the formulas don't flow on, but it's the data that flows on from congregations to
the
districts, but not vice versa. And none of the formulas flow on either way. Yeah, so they'd have to be, yeah. So these are very, very good points, and we may, we can pass them on to the facilitation group.
Yeah. And another thing for the facilitation group would be there are some congregations that do not have tech savvy or computer savvy clerks. So we are expecting those clerks to, how are they supposed to populate this? I just saw a question of if a local does not even have an Excel spreadsheet. How is that local going to function? I have a congregation currently who submits their statistic, regular statistics form to me on paper, handwritten in. So how do you, exactly.
Wow, okay. Clerk of Presbytery, how do we manage that, please? Hello, Papa. I think that's a resource question, and definitely.
Let me also make a comment. I know that this template that is provided has come with a lot of challenges, not only in North America. It has challenges throughout in terms of implementation. So in some situation, we adapt to suit it, because, for example, when this template is completed, it doesn't mean that you have completed a full report. This one is an addendum to the major report. This one is always will be accompanying the report, because when this issue came up and we were discussing thoroughly, we got to know that if we're only going to put data like this, then the story of activities that actually took place in before we arrive at this information will not be part of a report. But people will not just go to just pick template and calculate data without a story. So in report presentation, the story will have to be told. And then these data, these figures that are indicated under the various departments will have a slot. So, for example, when the goals and the objectives are the overarching goals and other things are set very clearly, we will work out to implement, but the difficulty at some of the local congregation will still come up. So we will continue to work on this until it is adapted to suit every situation. Because, for example, in some places where, if even overseas, if we will grapple with figures like this and template like this, then you can think about somebody from a village like Fifi, how will Fifi be able to compute this? How will cooperative be able to compute some of these things? So the challenges are there. So when it comes up, the district will need to fine-tune to most of what the congregations are not able to provide. And then also when it gets to presbytery, the presbytery is also able to put one together and send it to the General Assembly. So that is it. But in terms of the report writing itself, the story must be told. So the report, for example, and the ecumenical, why the figures have been computed here, how did you arrive at these figures? All that one becomes part of the report that must be documented to tell the story of the congregation. Other than that, in the near future, people read only figures without a story.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Papa. That is so true. That's so true. So this strategic plan template goes with your annual written report, which you present through your districts to the presbytery session. So that will also happen. Okay, thank you. And the challenges, that's true, are there. And when we were working on this, we were thinking about the same thing. How does somebody in Hwehwe actually work on a template like this? It's simply impossible for some of us. And so I'm sure the General Assembly office would work through it. But we keep on highlighting these challenges so that they know that they're real and they must be dealt with. So we get to the stage on, we've done scholarships, Committee on Church Life and Nurture. Again, it's asking average attendance, and the information would have been captured in order to fulfill this task. So moving on from, in 2023, all of this needs to be captured at the congregation level, preaching post level, and then fed through to the district. It is quite certain that in 2022, because we didn't know that this information was to be captured, none of us have captured it, and so we don't have the information. If we don't have the information, and it's a figure, please put in 0. Put in 0, and so that it calculates correctly in your final report. And there are other sections that it's asking. Increased participation in soul winning, presbyters, committee members, and group executives are regularly trained, and so on. Counseling and family life, not all the committees are available in all districts. So if the particular committee is not available in your district, then of course you can't report on it, you would leave it blank. Then the membership data, this would have been captured somehow. Again, if 2022 data is not available, put in your 0s, but if you have it, please insert that, and then we work towards the future, 23, 24, and 25. And it comes to, and then we get to attendance. So this means that we need to capture attendance information every week for our services. And it has the categories listed there. So your children's service, JY, adult service. Meetings at generational groups, again, we need to capture that kind of information. And then land, if there is land certificates, the nomenclature may be different to what we are used to. Like we don't have land certificates in Australia, we call them something else. So whatever the equivalent is, please input that information depending on whether you respond positively to that particular question. So the number of land certificates, signed indenture, allocation certificate, a site plan, if you're building, and total receipts. So all of that apply. It seems to me that part is quite Ghana specific, but then we have equivalent ones that you can input there. And then it comes and asks about size of land. It's talking about hectares. I needed to, work out what a hectare is in terms of, because we do square meters. And so I had to work it out somehow with my district minister. That was a bit of a challenge, but that was good. And then any litigation, number of landed properties, whether they are insured, and whether they're insured through TIB. That's the TIB's insurance company for the Presbyterian Church, I understand. So that will not apply to us here. And then expenditure. We want expenditure on those sections there, specifically. Mission and evangelism, welfare, education, scholarship. And then it asks for a total on all of those expenditure. So once all congregations have completed all of this, it populates on the district tabs. So when you send it to your district clerk, they will then have to transpose that. They can do a simple copy and paste into the relevant district template, and then it will populate. And then the district can produce a report for submission to the Presbytery office. So for what we need to do in the next couple of days, it's a 3-year rolling plan for districts, and then for the congregations as well, which includes your statistics and so on. But we've also got a separate statistic sheet that we need to complete, that the Clerk of Presbytery sent through in November, together with, there were 2 different emails, but around the same dates in November. I think it was the 25th of November. So thank you. That I come to the end of what I needed to share. And if any more questions, anyone has any more questions, please.
Yeah, you mentioned that the clerk sent some forms in November, back in November. Do you mean the Form D and the C, or?
Yeah, the Form D and the C, yes, that one. And you got the strategic plan template as well. Is that right?
we're going to include a Form D and C to this 3-year rolling plan, or we just submitting the 3-year rolling plan come this weekend?
Yeah, come this weekend is a 3-year rolling plan that is like urgent. But on the 3-year rolling plan, there are some membership statistics also that you'll find. Membership. Yeah.
All right.
See,
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mama, are you done?
Yes, Papa, thank you.
I realized you were calling me and I was present out. I did tell you that I've had meetings since morning, so I was on break. That's why I'm using two gadgets. One is my phone and the other in the office. Yes, I'm sure the Reverend Dr. Owusu answered the question, right?
Yes, he did extremely well. Thank you.
That's right. If those of us in the North America Australian Presbytery are still doing, refresher courses to understand this, then I wonder those at others who Ukraine and people there. I wonder what will happen. But God be our helper. It is well. Right.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. And please, if you've got questions, please do so. Ask them, or
I think that there's a question.
Questions.
There's a question there. I said, how do I get the recorded version? The recorded version, you can go to YouTube, Awuku-Gyampoh, and you'll see there. Or you can copy it. You can copy it from the link up there. I want to go to Ransford K. Awuku-Gyampoh. It is live. It's live.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can get it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Over to you, Papa, please. Thank you.
Right. So thank you, my good friends. It's not us, so it's not us. It's the Lord. We are supposed to bring this by week.
Papa, we've lost you.
Yeah, sorry about that, because I'm using my phone. I think a call came through. That's the disadvantage using a phone. I'm sorry. Yes. So as I said, as it stands now, North America's rep is the only president which has not submitted the strategic plan, right? So I pleaded with them that we're going to send to them on Monday. So please do well to let us have yours. Let's have yours within the weekend, and to try to use Monday to fill it out and send it, because Sunday is already, when we close, you have to go to Manhattan again for another executive meeting. So something else. Let's pray that Monday we'll be able to send it to the head office. So please, I beg you in the name of Jesus, district clerks, I beg you, please try your best, and let's have it. Why? I mean, Shamo. Then again, next week, let's find time next week again and go through the report writing. This time it's not an essay type, okay? Let's still see the formatting, how it's going to be. Let's try to. Last year, let me say it for us to understand that the whole Representative of Ghana, we were one of the people who couldn't follow the format. Yes, who couldn't follow the formatting of report writing. So please, this year, I've told the clerk of General Assembly that we are going to be first. I mean, come on, not tomorrow. We are going to be first. And I pray that the Lord will help us to be first in the report writing. God bless you. God bless you. On behalf of the... Yes, Mama.
Papa, please, with the report writing, have you been able to get hold of the template? Because that will guide us in terms of what we need.
So thank you. Let's finish with this one, that I'm in trouble. So once we are done with this, I will surely try and get samples, and we go by that. But with the department, what we want to do is that we'll report department by department, and that would help us. So if we pick mission and evangelism, what did you desire to do in 2022? And how were you able to achieve it? And did you achieve it? Yes. Then when you are done with the department, then you come down to maybe significant events that cannot be categorized under those things. That would be fine. You know, we started with this and that, and no, not the essay type. We want to have a simplified form and have it done department by department. That would help us, the 7 department. If you report it that way, you're going to have a very good thing. One, what did you set as your target? How did you achieve it? And was it successful? Then you bring the remarks and you come down again. But we'll try to give you the format, at least. I'm sure it will help you. Right. Thank you.
Doc, my plea is that if you will still go ahead to tell the Clerk of General Assembly that they need to extend particularly the computerization of this data, where there are some figures to be calculated, and where our situation is completely different from Ghana. It's becoming a little bit difficult, because even as Sister Awo is making this presentation, we will still get to know that there are still situations that are not applicable. And we're trying to work it out. So if they can extend it for us, Because when we started initially in the completing this data, it was like that. And they needed to extend it because North America is completing this for the first time. In fact, I remember when I came here, I was asking the question, why is North America not doing this one? And it's like, it was not there. It hasn't come to implementation. So now I think we are trying. So please do well to tell the Clerk of General Assembly that we are grappling with it, just like a few people did, and then we can assure him that maybe next week, but Monday party, okay, look, Monday more party, into my 1 week, my 1 week grace account. 1 week grace can one. Nanka yabo more than na. Says one we ever computer figures be a brewer.
Okay.
I am pleading.
You know why I didn't call the ministers? I know the ministers when they come, they're going to beg me.
I found myself there because the clerks, when the clerks have the problem, they will still come back to the minister and ask questions.
Exactly.
And honestly, it's going to be difficult for them. For example, we need to print this one, walk them through one after the other, for the clerks themselves to be able to grasp this one, and then even to be able to put the figures together. So, yes, sir. North America.
Okay. The Reverend Dr. Kabna Ofusado.
I second him. I
understand. I know where the second is going to come. I know my seniors. Yeah, I know that's why I didn't call them. That's why I didn't call them. So let me address my clerks. Please let me address my clerks.
Okay, Marty.
Okay.
You know what? When the clerk of General Assembly is talking, he said, "Don't bring your chairman inside. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as the clerk. So, clerks, let me talk to you as clerks. Don't bring your ministers in. I beg you. I mean, one year I am a General Assembly. No, and so you know what? Now I'm accepting the plea. You bring it by midnight, Monday midnight, and I'll sit down and also use another midnight to do it and send it to the head office by 31st. Okay, so I'm giving you from today to Monday midnight. So Monday 12 midnight, getting to the Tuesday, you give it to me. And I also sit down, because one thing is that if I go about pleading, it's going against the whole presbytery. But let's just make an attempt. Okay, let us make an attempt to at least, when I'm representing the presbytery, I go there as individual, but anything that happens, they say North America. Don't say Awuku-Gyampoh, they say North America. So please, I'm also begging with you, at least you have tomorrow, Friday, you have Saturday, you have Sunday, then you have Monday to midnight. Please try to do something. Do you get me all? I'm going to get my members on board, and we're also going to sit down within 10 hours, put everything together, and send it on your behalf. And we'll be on record because the monitor is so wild about this strategic planning stuff. So I beg you, so that we save the presbytery. Else you see my name on the list. North America, we have not obeyed the rule of the church. Okay, so the ministers, please, you don't talk here. Let's talk backstage. Please, ministers, let's talk backstage.
Agreed.
Yes, sir. So my text, I'm begging you, Messiah, Messiah, Mamonda, Mami. Why?
Friday, Australia, Friday is almost gone.
Oh, Matty, you are not allowed to speak. Matty, you are not allowed to speak. You are not allowed. In fact, I understand you. But let us all try. In fact, if you go to the class platform, we have a platform. If you go to the class platform and someone brings it, we say, we see a let me talk and I'm around. You're ready. Be a North America partner, cry, just say nothing. Nothing. Zero. Give me strength. And I believe you. I trust you, people, that you're going to do it. Once it comes, I'm also going to sit down with my team and Martin, I'm even going to call you when it comes. You know, I bet transfers. Within 10 hours. Now, yeah, the aquation and couple the and wife.
Okay, so please, just a takeaway. Remember, district clerks, use the home tab and then click on the relevant ones. And then the congregational clerks, use the congregational data tab and then get into your relevant congregation and update your 3-year rolling plan template. Okay, so that you don't get overwhelmed. Thank you.
Wow. So on behalf of the presbytery, we want to say thank you so much to our dear Sister Awu. This is what we'll be doing. We'll be falling on all of you at one time or the other to also use your expertise to help us. God willing, on Monday, we're going to have a discipleship training, and we'll be blessed to have the Reverend Dr. Awuku-Gyampoh, who is a practical theologian, to take us through discipleship, which happens, and scholars have found that to be the centrality of church growth and church sustainability. And so please tell your friends and announce this to your various congregations. There are some of you, when you receive the information, you keep them as your personal property. You don't forward it. You don't be a message free. Presbyter, I'll say, okay, acknowledge where you. I saw Warsaw. Warsaw the Tomo session platform. Warsaw the Tomo council platform. Then you send it to your local platforms. All information that I receive from head office, that is what I also disseminate to you. So you also try to send it to the grassroots. And that's the flow of information. And I'm sure that would help. The next one is Sunday, God willing. With the exception of North America, with the exception of New York District and New York North District, all the other districts are supposed to have a second offering. And that is going to be special appeal to the launching of our 10th anniversary. So the 10th anniversary committee has been formed. We need some money to be able to get the logistics and all the other materials to have a very great celebration. And so please talk to them about the presbytery, which has come in existence. We are in the 9th year, and God willing, next year is our 10th year. We want to have a grand celebration. However, we need to launch it. And so launch it properly. And the word is launching, not launching. It's launching. Launch here, just clicks, you encourage them say, hey, you're launching. You launch the harvest. You don't launch the harvest. When you come and come home, Auntie Awu, Sham, all the districts that came, we know you came, so we're not going to check roll at all. Thank you very much. And we thank the ministers that also came on board. Reverend Dr. Fosado has been a very great man, and I admire his ministry. So, well, you must all know that he candidated me to become a minister many years. I mean, 17 years ago, right? So I've worked with him for the past 20 years, and it's been an inspiration. But it's good, you have to always give honor where honor is due. And so he gave me communion till I candidated and became a minister. And still when we meet and he said he'll give me communion. Thank you very much. And I thank God for Papa Martin's life. Papa Martin Ofori is here, the clan director is also here. I saw Papa Opoku also on the line. God richly bless all of you. I see Amma on the line, Daniel on the line, Dominic on the line. Papa Edward Mensa, Opoku Mensa is also on the line. Papa, God bless you. We see Elizabeth Ejay also here. I see Reverend Mrs. Otabote is also here, Mama. God bless you. I see Esme also here. Obing also here. Mrs. Obing, God bless you. I see Joyce also here. Ahaji here. I see Martin Kwakwa here. Martin is here. I see Rashid also here. I see Tamolenim here. I see Stan here. I see Veronica here. I see Vivo here. I see Warrior. I see Washington DC now, and I see Women in Prayer. Sure, yes, I see also here. So God bless you, and thank you very much. Is there any questions someone would want to ask? If not, then we ask the Reverend Dr. Abna Ofusado to pray with us to go. Thank you.
Gracious God, we want to appreciate our time together and thank you for the insight, the people you dedicated to lead us and to walk us through this program. It still comes with difficulty and understanding, but we know that wisdom comes from you. And therefore, as the clerks retreat to put these materials together, may you grant them the wisdom and the guidance they need. We know that when all these are being computed, it goes back to the table of the clerk of presbytery, and that is a lot of work, in addition to so many other things that is committed to. But we trust in that, oh God, you grant him the strength every day, the insight to be able to lift the presbytery to the level of recognition and acknowledgement. We know that you will do it beyond our comprehension. Thank you for the dedication of the clerks of various districts and congregations. As they dedicate their time for the service of the Lord, may you also remember them when they bring their needs before you, that they will always say that it is good that they made commitment unto you. Thank you for a night well spent. And we bless your name as we retire to our various rests.